Welcome to Point channel. So today I will discuss about the Spring Boot caching concepts. So here I'm going to cover why do we need to cache the data first of all, okay, and how to implement the cache in Spring Boot, okay, and can we cache the data with Spring Boot only without taking the help of any cache provider, and who are the popular cache providers, and what exactly this JSR 107 annotations, that is Java specification request 107 annotations versus Spring Boot cache annotations, okay, and Spring Boot with EH cache 2 versus Spring Boot with EH cache 3, what's the difference? So basically how to update the cache and how to clear the cache. So I'm going to cover all these concepts. So yeah, the first one. So why do we need to cache the data here? Okay. So for example, in real time, so there might be a DB calls to pull the static data, which very rarely changes. Okay. So in that case, okay, why to do an expensive call? So DB call is an expensive, right? So in that case, we can think about this data caching. Okay, for some time. So maybe we can have some 24 hours or some reasonable time. So up to that time, so it will just pull the data from the cache, and once that time is expired, then the subsequent calls will go to the DB, and again it will pull the data, again it will store the data into the cache for again 24 hours, something like that. So that is one scenario number one. And scenario number two is, I mean, few methods may take a bit longer time to execute. Okay, so they will do some lot of processing here and there or something like that. And finally, it will return the data, right? So just to improve the user experience, we can think about data caching, even in this case also. So for example, maybe whenever the data changes in the backend, so then even we can update that particular data by invoking some put API. So by that way, we can simultaneously update the cache also. So then, I mean, whenever a user tries to get the data from the cache, then they will get the updated the data from the cache, not the stale data, right? So yeah, these are the few real-time scenarios. Okay. Yeah. So the next question comes. Okay, we understood the cache. Now, what is, I mean, how to implement the cache in Spring Boot? So basically, there are a few steps. So the first one is we need to add a starter. Spring Boot starter cache. So this one we need to add in POM. So basically, what happens. So it enables the caching and configures a respective cache manager. You know so cache manager, in the sense, we do have some cache and cache manager, which are interfaces in Spring Boot. So so as soon as you add this Spring Boot starter cache, okay, it will try to do this auto configuration concept for the respective cache manager. So caching manager. So for example, if you have so and so caching provider, then that definitely that caching provider might have implemented this caching manager. Then it will try to do auto wiring that particular respective caching manager. So that's what auto configuration will take care, right? So so that is about step one. Step two is we need to add at the rate enable caching to any configuration class or to a main class in which we have at the rate Spring Boot application. So why do we need to do this at the rate enable caching? In the sense, okay, as soon as you add, it will try to detect all your classes in which you have any method which is annotated with this caching annotations, in the sense at the rate cacheable, cache put, cache evict. So there are some annotations. Okay, then as soon as it identifies, okay, in so and so class, so and so method is annotated with this caching annotation, then then it will try to apply a proxy concept, so that so whenever we try to invoke that particular method, then proxy will come into picture, and it will try to intercept that particular method call, and handle the caching behavior accordingly. Okay. Yeah, step three is as per your requirement, you need to add a relevant caching annotations to your method wherever you are expecting. Okay, so this is this one. Now, next question. So, can we cache the data with Spring Boot only without any caching provider? Yeah, the answer for that question is yes. We can cache the response without using any caching provider. Okay. So, basically, what happens, in Spring Framework, okay, in Spring Framework, you know, the caching service is an abstraction in the sense, okay, these guys, Spring Framework, okay, they have given a out and out implementation for the caching implementation in the sense, okay, for example, let's assume Spring doesn't have any implementation for this caching, then you need to take care how to cache your data. Okay, everything, it's your responsibility to cache the data, right? So where to cache, how to cache, how long you need to cache, something like that. But Spring, what they have done, so they have come up with some implementation. So it's kind of abstraction. Okay, here you can see, so, but Spring Framework. I mean, of course, however, they have given an implementation, but they haven't given any storage area where to store this particular cache data. Okay, so they have given only an abstraction way of caching. So that is, I mean, they have given some implementation. Okay, how to cache the data, but they haven't given where to store the data. So uh, that's why they need to take the help of any proper caching provider library. So there are a number of vendors in the market. Okay, so then with the help of those caching providers, so there, we can save the cached data in so and so location properly with the help of a external caching provider. Okay, so then um, so the next question arises when Spring Boot is not able to store the data in anywhere. Okay, then what's the use of storing the data or caching the data only with Spring Boot without any caching provider, right? So then what happens? What Spring Boot does, okay, it will, as soon as you add Spring Boot starter cache, it will try to search in the class path for any external caching providers. For example, so many are there. I mean, Couchbase, EHCache, Jcache, so many are there. If any caching provider is available in the class path, it will try to auto configure that respective caching manager, and it will go through that respective caching providers XML files, and it will go through the instructions. If nothing is found, okay, then what it does, it will try to make use of simple caching manager kind of thing. So that means it is also one kind of the basic, the basic caching provider, simple caching provider, so which will store the data in concurrent hash map. So if you want to do some kind of basic caching testing, then you can think about this mechanism. So that's what this is. Okay, now next, who are the popular cache providers? In the sense, as I said, I mean, generic Jcache. So Jcache, it has JSR 107 compliant. Okay, EHCache 2.x and 3.x is again JSR 107 compliant. Okay, yeah, Hazelcast, okay, Goa, okay, Infinispan, Couchbase, Redis. This is in AWS, Redis cache. Okay, Caffeine, okay, Simple. So these are the various cache providers. Okay, so what is this JSR 107 annotation? So why this word is, it's kind of a buzzword, right? So Spring has given this caching mechanism in somewhere around in Spring 3.1 version. Okay, so with some Spring, with some annotations, so we can do the basic caching work, with the help of the Spring's provided caching annotations, right? So afterwards, what happened? Um, so yeah, so as a second point, Spring has its own annotations such as at the rate cacheable, cache put, cache evict. So all these annotations are from the Spring end. Okay. So now in the Spring 4.1 version, Spring Cache supports this JSR 107, which is a standard for caching on the JVM. So So, JSON is Java specification request. So that particular team has, come up with the standard annotation so that, uh, all vendors, that means all other caching providers, whoever wants to, give the implementation for for caching in a standard way, so they are supposed to implement this JSR 107 annotation, so that in future, I mean, if developer wants to switch to some other caching provider, he no need to change his coding. It's kind of a standard way, so something like that. So then prior to Spring 4.1, Spring has its own annotations, right, for handling caching. Now in addition to those annotations, I mean, Spring has also given a support for JSR 107 also. So JSR 107 has given its own annotations. Okay, so now so for example, when to use Spring's own annotations, when to use JSR 107 annotations, right? So the answer for that question is, okay, if you are using a caching provider which is a JSR 107 compliant, okay, so then it is recommended to go for JSR 107 specific annotations, caching annotations. Okay, uh, if not, you can use Spring provided caching annotations. However, okay, still you can even though you are using a JSR 107 compliant caching provider, still you can make use of Spring's caching annotations also. There is no harm. I mean, say you can use either one of the thing, but the recommended one is to use the JSR 107 annotations. Okay, but you are not supposed to mix both of them. Okay, either you should use JSR 107 caching annotations or Spring's provided caching annotations, right? So yeah, for example, here if you see the left side one, annotations are provided from the Spring. Okay, if you see at the rate cacheable, cache put, cache evict. Okay, and yeah, so the fourth one also cache evict, but it's one more flavor. All entries equal true. Yeah, the right side, the equivalent annotations from the JSR 107 are okay. For example, you see at the rate cache result, which is equivalent to at the rate cacheable in the Spring. Similarly, cache put, both are same. Cache put, cache put. Cache evict here, left side is cache evict, right side it is cache remove. Okay, left side it is cache evict, right side cache removal, something like that. A slight change here and there. Okay, now these are the key Spring cache annotations. At the rate cacheable, basically this is used to cache the data. At the rate cache put, okay, whenever you want to update the data, then if you want to update the cache also, then you can use this at the rate cache put. And similarly, at the rate cache evict, if you want to delete the data and you want to update the cache, I mean, you want to delete the data even from the cache also, then you can think about it at the rate cache evict. Okay, at the rate cache config, in the sense, for example, if you are having some kind of a common data, for example, cache name everywhere you are providing to each and every method, so then you can move that cache name to at the class level. So then you can make use of this at the rate cache config. Okay, so what is at the rate caching, in the sense, if you want to group multiple caching annotations, okay, then you can think about at the rate caching. Okay, so yeah, now Spring Boot with cache 2. Okay, so whenever you use cache 2, so basically you need to add at the rate, sorry, Spring Boot starter cache in the POM. Okay, and of course cache. Why? Because you are going to use cache 2. So for cache 2, this is a specific dependency, net.sf.cache. Okay, so 2.x version, any version you can use. And after that, you need to add cache.xml with some specific instructions that I'm going to explain shortly in SRC main resources. So then Spring Boot will automatically detect that particular cache.xml. Okay, and it will do the required stuff. Okay, so whereas in the case of Spring Boot with cache 3, okay, so uh, sorry, this is not the right dependency. Okay, I mean I need to change. Of course, I mean shortly I will show you in the coding what is the right dependency, but it's my bad. I mean I just added a 2.x dependency only here. Okay, so in addition to this, we need to add java-x.cache. This is cache hyphen API. Why? Because cache 3.x is a JSR 107 component. So that's why we need to add this cache API, which internally has JSR 107 annotations. Okay. So after that, I mean, again, we need to add ehcache.xml in SRC main resources. Now, in this case, Spring Boot will not detect this ehcache.xml like automatically. We need to add one more property below line in the application dot properties. That line also I will show you shortly. Okay. Now without wasting time, let's jump into the coding part. Yeah, so here if you see, this is a EH cache to just kind of a demo project. Okay, nothing fancy, just we have some controller, some CRUD operations are there. That's it. Okay, so just to minimize the time, I mean, so I just I just have a few required stuff. Okay, so yeah, we need to add this starter dependency, Spring Boot starter cache. Okay, so I'm just adding here. Okay, I will show you all the scenarios one by one. Okay, so yeah, I just added Spring Boot starter cache. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. Okay, I just added only Spring Boot starter cache, nothing. I mean, I didn't add any H cache, nothing. Okay, so then just come to here. Okay, yeah, so we need to add at the rate enable caching. Of course, I have already added at the rate enable caching here in the main class. Okay, and after that, third step is wherever you want, you can add the respective caching annotations, right? So here, for example, this is my implementation. So implementation in the sense, I mean, see, this is my controller. We do have some CRUD operations just to fetch the data, all fetch all employees data. Okay, delete the data, update the employee or something like that. Okay. So now here, if you see, so we will see one by one. Okay. So here, if you see, um, delete the cache. Okay. So yeah, yeah, here if you see, this is the fetch employee, right? So now I want to add at the rate cacheable. So here if you see, this is from org.springframework.cache dot. Here you can see this is from Spring Framework. Okay. So I just added this one. Okay. I didn't add any attributes. Okay. I just add at the rate cacheable. Okay. So now, okay, if I start the server, okay. So for example, uh, yeah, this one, right? So I'm just starting the server. So internally, what happens, it will try to create an employee table in the database. So why? Because here we do have, see here I have employee entity, right? See here I have employee entity. So it will try to create employee table in the database. So before that, I will show you. See, this is my workbench. Okay, so I don't have any tables here. Okay, now now during the server startup, it will try to create employee table in the database. Okay, so let me show you. Uh, yeah, it's taking time. Yeah, just bear with me. Yeah, see, I'm using the Spring Boot version 2.7.5. Prior to Spring Boot 2.x, people used to use EHCache 2.x version, and after Spring Boot 2.x version onwards, I mean, it is recommended to use EHCache 3.x. Okay, so that we will discuss shortly. So yeah, see, now server is started. Okay, it has created the employee table also. Let's see the same even in the MySQL workbench. I'm just refreshing my schema. Yeah, see, employee table is created, right? So of course we don't have any records here in the employee table. Okay, so now let me create a few records in the database. Okay, so I'm just changing to post. Okay, so here let me remove this. Okay, so I'm trying to create the same data in the database. Okay, so see, first record is created with ID 1. Okay, I'm just creating five records. Second record is created. Third record is created. Fourth record is created, and fifth record is created. So five records are created, right? So here you can see I'm just refreshing. See, there are five records. Okay, so now I have added at the rate cacheable to the fetch call right here. So so now I will I will try to fetch the data. Okay, employee data from the database. So then let's see whether it is trying to cache the data or not. Okay, so here if you see, I'm just refreshing. Okay, now let me change the type to get. Okay, so here I'm passing one. Okay, so now let's see. Oh, see here is saying method. Oh, internal server. Okay, okay, I think it has thrown some error. Let me see what's the issue. Yeah, so no cache could be resolved, okay, for the builder, okay, builder public com dot, okay, employee DTO, okay, examples, okay, fetch employee DTO java dot lang dot, this one, okay, no cache could be resolved, okay. I guess, let me see once, I think, where is this employee DTO? Okay, it is saying DTO, right? For the builder public.com.springboot as model.employee DTO. Okay, it's looking good only, right? Okay, examples.service.employee service MPL fetch employee java.long.long. Okay, key is equal to something. Okay, okay, key is equal to cache manager or something, right? Okay. So at least see, at least one cache could be provided for cache operation. Okay, okay, got it. So I think we need to give some name. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so here, okay, let me give some name. Cache cache names. Okay, let me give some employee cache. Oh, employee cache. Okay, so yeah, I have added Spring Boot Dev Tools. I think internally it will do the server startup accordingly. So let's see. Let's wait for 30 seconds. Okay. Yeah, see, it's a starting, right? So for service, yeah, it's starting. Let it start. Okay, yeah, let me hit once again. Get call. I'm trying to pull the data whose employee ID is one. Yeah, see, this time there is no issue. See, we have got the data. Okay, so now I'm trying to hit second time. Okay, third time. Okay, so now let's see. Yeah, so yeah, here if you see, I have added a few log statements. So here if you see, about to fetch the employee ID one from the controller, and this particular log statement is very first time. Obviously, this particular method got executed, and it has pulled the data from the database also. And here you can see it has fired the select query also. But when I try to fire the same request second and third time, so this time it has printed only the log statement from the controller only. So that means it has provided the data from the cache. Right. So here, if you see, I will show you that service call once again. So here, yeah. So here, if you see, here I have added, right. So that means the flow even didn't enter into this particular method itself, right? So within the it has provided the response straight away from the cache itself, right? So by this way, without having any caching provider, I just added only Spring Boot starter cache and this particular line. So, I'm able to cache the data, right? So, of course, now if I want to fine tune this particular caching, that means I want to take the control like where to store, how long I want to store. So those kind of tweaking that I need to do explicitly just by having some defining some caching managers, beans, all those things. Okay. So, and as I said earlier, this is kind of a basic caching testing. If you want to do basic caching testing, then you can think about this simple one without using any caching provider. Okay. So now we will take the help of a proper caching provider, that is EHCache 2.x version, right? So now what I will do, okay, I will try to add this particular dependency. Okay, this is, here if you see, this is EHCache 2.7.2. So since I am going to add the dependency in the POM, so I need to stop the server. So DevTools will not reflect this particular change if I add in the POM, right? So here I'm going to pom.xml. So here, where is the starter cache? See here I added, right? So just below that, I am just adding this particular dependency. Okay. Yeah. So we added the EHCache dependency. Okay. And one more point is we need to add the EHCache.xml also, right? So just to save the time, I mean, I have already maintained this cache data XML. So here, if you see, if you come here, we need to add in the src main resources. Okay, so for that, what we need to do, just create one ehcache.xml, ehcache.xml. So here just maintain this particular one. Okay, so now let me start the server. Okay, meanwhile I will explain so each attribute of this particular XML. So here, if you see, I have employee cache, right? So this employee cache I have defined just some time before here, right? See here, I have given the name. So this is cache name. So cache name in the sense, so I can have n number of caches. Okay, so in so and so cache, I can maintain so and so number of elements within that particular cache. So I can have cache 1, cache 2, cache 3, something like that. So this is kind of a cache name. Okay, okay. So after that, if you see, what is this next attribute, max elements in the memory. So that means I can save 2000 elements in this particular cache. So that is employee cache. Okay, next one, max elements in the disk. Okay, in the disk, in the sense, so memory is different, disk space is different, right? So memory in the sense RAM. Okay, disk in the sense hard disk, right? So now once your memory is full, then you can store your data even in your hard disk. Okay, so overflow to disk equal to true. So if it is true, then only when the memory is full, then only the flow, the data will be stored in the disk. If it is false, okay, as soon as the memory is full, it will reject the data, and it, reject in the sense, it will try to evict the data, existing data, from the memory based on some caching strategy, right? Okay, so next, eternal. What is eternal? Eternal in the sense, okay, if it is true, okay, so the cache data will never expire. So it will forever, the data will be in the cache only. So that's why I just maintained false. Okay. So next one. So what is this? Yeah. So um, yeah. So disk persistent equal to true. So disk persistent in the sense, yes, I am interested to store my data into the disk. So we need to keep it as true. Okay, so after that, yeah, this is a some eviction policy. So when the memory is full, or when the hard disk is full, so then if you want to cache the new data, obviously you need to eliminate the existing data. So during the elimination or during the eviction, we have some caching policies, that is LRU, least recently used. Okay, LFU, least frequent used. Okay, so like that, we do have some policies. So now here I just opted LRU. Okay, similarly, time to live in seconds. Okay, how long your cache data okay, need to be there within the cache. Okay, so for example, in my case, 120 seconds. So that means 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, automatically the cache will be expired, the data will be removed from the cache. Okay, so there is one more attribute, time to idle in seconds. Time to idle in seconds in the sense, okay, even though your cached duration is 2 minutes. Okay, for example, you used your data for first 20 seconds, and after that, okay, I mean, you didn't fire any request for 20 seconds. Okay, then in that case also, for the data will be removed from the cache. Why? Because if you maintain time to idle in seconds for 20 seconds, so then if your idle time is 20 seconds, then in that case the data will be removed from the cache. Okay, so yeah, so this is what the meaning of each and every attribute of this particular cache XML. So yeah, here if you see now, yeah, so this is java.io.temp directory. Okay, here our data will be stored. Okay, now let me go here. Okay, employee service MPL. Yeah, earlier we have this attribute, right? Now since we are using a proper caching provider, so now I will add key equal to, okay, here I will give ID. Okay, so I mean, whenever you are caching the data in your cache, so obviously the data will be stored with the help of some keys, right? So whenever you fetch your data, obviously you need to provide your key, then only it will return the value, something like that, right? So here this key is basically here you are providing, take the help of this ID. ID is obviously unique. So By that way you can maintain the unique cache data, right? So even though if you don't give, so internally Spring Boot will try to create the keys based on your parameters of your method, right? So now, yeah, we just passed key also. So here if you see now, yeah, yeah, let me fire few requests. Okay, so the same one. Okay, cache on. Okay, so here, okay, first time. Oh, okay, some issue is there. Okay, so what happened? Spring Boot expression, Spring Boot language. Okay, oh, okay, property, right, is filled with ID. Okay, sorry. So here we need to give hash ID. So this is known as a Spring expression language. Okay, so here, okay, so it will try to identify, okay, whatever id if you give, okay, whatever parameter if you pass, if you give hash means internally it will consider it as a proper key. It's known as a Spring expression language. Okay, I've forgotten to give this hash. Okay, yeah, it's taking a while to server startup. Yeah, so let me try to hit once again. Yeah, see, this time I've got the data now. Second time, third time. Okay, so yeah, see, this time also the same thing. Okay, first time it has fetched the data from the database, and second time and third time it has just got the data from the cache. Okay, so far we are good. Okay. Yeah, so see, server is started, so let me check in the database. Okay, yeah, see, now the employee table is created. I don't have a data, so let me create some sample records. So here let me change to post. Okay, so here if you see some sample data is there. Okay, so now, okay, let me change this. Okay, so let me create 5 records. Okay, see, first time ID record 1, second, third, fourth, fifth. Yeah, see, I just created 5 records, so with the same data. Okay, with the same data, here if you see the city name is Noida, right? So now, okay, let me change to get call. Okay, so here if you see the cache time I maintained 100 seconds. Okay, so let me show you. So I'm trying to fetch the employee data whose ID is 1. Okay, so now 3 times I will fire this request. Here you can see 3 times. Okay, so here if you see first time it has fetched the data from the database, and after that the 2 times it has returned the response from the cache itself, right? So now let me quickly update the database. Update this particular record. So now I'm just changing the Noida to Delhi. Okay, Noida to Delhi. Okay, so yeah, so here if you see Delhi. Okay, now again if I get this same record, it will return the data with Noida. See, here you can see Noida, right? So now that means it has written the state data, right? Now let me try to delete this record from the database. Okay, so that data got deleted. Now let me try to invoke the get call. So here if you see, yeah, still it has returned the data, right? From, so that means even after the deletion of the record from the database also, still it is returning the cached data, right? So which is not expected, right? So that means it is not in sync. My cache is out of sync, right? So just to overcome this scenario, so what we need to do, whenever we do update or whenever we do delete operations, obviously we need to take care of this caching synchronization also. That we will do with the help of this annotation. So here if you see, just come here. Okay, so here if you see, go to update method. Yeah, see, this is my update method, right? So here what I will do, cache put. Okay, see, we need to take the help of this one. Okay, so here I will give the the same cache name, everything same. Here if you see, yeah, so that means, what does it mean? Whenever I update my employee record, so obviously please do the update for the same record, we even within the cache also. So that's the meaning, right? So now I will do the same thing even for delete operation also. Here, if you see here, this is my delete, right? This is my delete here. So this time the annotation is cache evict, cache evict. Yeah, see cache evict. So this time I will show you the difference. Okay. So my dev tools will take care of the server startup with the updated changes. So just bear with me for 10 more seconds. Yeah, I guess we are good. So this time I will do the experiment with employee record whose ID is 2. Okay. So here, yeah. So first time, second time. Oh, 1 second. Something went wrong. Okay, still it is starting. Okay. So I need to give sufficient time. Okay, still it is taking a time to server startup. Let's wait for 10 more seconds. Yeah, we are good now. Okay, let me file a request once again. Yeah, this time we will see the record. Yes. Yeah, so second time. Okay, third time. Okay, as I said, okay, here you can see we are getting the data from the cache. So now quickly let me update. Okay, okay, here I'm changing from Delhi to Chennai. Okay, so here I'm trying to update the record. Okay, the date, see, I'm able to see Chennai. Okay, so let me fire this time get call. This time we will see even Chennai. See the same Chennai. So that means we are getting the updated data. Okay, now this time, I'm calling delete call. Okay, quickly I'm deleting. The data got deleted. Now this time I'm changing to get call. Okay, this time I don't get any data. So obviously resource ID not found. So that means what, you know, so my cache is in sync with the updated operations, right? So whenever I delete the data, see my data got deleted from the database, right? So then at the same time, it used to delete that particular record even from the cache also, right? So this time what happens, since it is not available in the cache, it will try to pull the data from the database. So that's why it has shown this particular error message. Why? Because there is no employee record with ID 2. So that's why it has thrown resource ID 2. So that means I have taken care of cache synchronization at the time of delete and update operation. So that's what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So in earlier previous case, okay, whenever I do update and delete operation, still I could see the old stale data which used to return from the cache. So this is what I want to highlight. Okay. So the next one, okay, what I want to show here is so cache config. Okay, cache config. So quickly I will show you cache config. Here you can say. So here we can say cache names. Okay, I'm just saying employee cache. Okay. So see everywhere I just repeated cache name, right? So now I just shifted to at the class level. So now here I'm just removing this particular name, but still it will work as it is. Okay. So here if you see cache names, yeah, from here also I just removed. Now here also I just remove this one. Yeah. See now DevTools will take a while to reflect the changes. Yeah. Starting the server accordingly. So here if you see we don't have records ID 1 and 2, we have only 3 records, right? So this time let me show you, it will give the same behavior. Okay, so let me try to pull the data. Okay, here if you see, oh, it's taking a while to server startup. Okay, let's wait for 10 more seconds. So I just want to highlight, like, even with @ cache config also it will behave in the same way how it has behaved earlier. Okay, so just I want to showcase the benefit of this cache config. Okay, yeah, so we are good. Server is started now this time. So quickly I will show you. See, I have pulled the data. Now the city is Noida. Okay, so second time, third time. Okay, so here you can see. Okay, you can see the data. Okay, so this time it got from the controller. Now quickly let me update put. Okay, So this time already data is there, Chennai, right? Okay, obviously it will update from Noida to Chennai. See here, Chennai is there. Okay, so now let me pull the data. So obviously cache also got updated. Now it will show the same Chennai. Okay, so now let me delete this quickly. Okay, sorry, delete. Let me delete this. Okay, data got deleted. Let me try to fetch. Okay, so even it has deleted the data from the cache also. That's why here you could see the same thing, resource ID not found. So that's the benefit of cache config. Okay, so one more is there at the rate caching, that is to just group multiple annotations. So that's the use of that at the rate caching. Okay, so this is what I mean. We have done in the case of ehcache2.x. So here you see one more important point. Okay, here in the application.properties, I didn't specify anywhere. So this is the so and so location of this caching. Okay, um, and here you can see. mm, yeah, so here if you see, so here I want to show you the um, caching location. Yeah, yeah. So here if you see somewhere here, okay, not sure. Okay, yeah, yeah. So here you can see, yeah. So this is the EH cache. Okay, this is what this is where the location of the cache. Here you can see this is the log file, and here you can see. Uh, I mean, the data is removed from the cache. Okay, so here if you see. No, this is the location of your cached file. So that's what I want to try. I want to say. Okay, so yeah, so this is what the ehcache2.x. Okay, let me show you quickly ehcache3.x also. So this is ehcache3 demo. Okay, let me close all these files. Okay, so quickly what we need to do for ehcache3.x. Okay, so just come here. Okay, I just to save the time. So what we need to do, we need to add starter cache and as well as cache. Okay, so this time cache is different. org.ehcache 3.6.1. Okay, here if you see in the 2.x case, okay, so this is from net.sf.ehcache. Here this is org.ehcache. Just note this point. And since this ehcache 3.x is a JSR 107 compliant, so we need to take the one more dependency, that is cache-API. Okay, let me quickly add all these dependencies. Okay, so it will take 5 more minutes. Okay, so here, yeah, so here I'm just adding. Yeah, I just added. Okay, let me refresh my palm. Okay, yeah, I just added. And after that, what we need to do, we need to definitely add the ehcache.xml. So this time this ehcache.xml is slightly different than the one which we have used in 2.x version. Okay, so I just copied this one. I will show you. Okay, just go here, resources. Okay, let's create one more file. Okay, so here ehcache.xml. So here, okay, um, see, I just added this. Yeah, so after adding this ehcache.xml, so here if you see just at high level, I'm maintaining the same employee cache and we need to maintain this key as a long, okay, value as employee DTO. So TTL I'm just maintaining of for 10 seconds here. Okay, so uh, so let's change to 100 seconds. Okay, 100 seconds. So here if you see, this is a custom cache event logger. So here we have added in a, uh, we need to add a respective log statement. So let me add that particular class also. So here if you see, I have no ready-made this one, this particular class. So yeah, so we need to add something like this, just to minimize the time. I'm just adding the required code here. See, custom cache event logger. So here I have one log statement. So whenever it creates a cache or it deletes the cache, expires the cache, then it will try to print this particular log statement. Okay, so that's the benefit of this one. So here you see, we have added all listeners, that means created, expired, update, all those things. Okay, so here this is the you know where to store the cache. So this is the heap space. In heap we are going to add 2000 units. Okay, and after that off heap in the sense in RAM. Okay, in RAM some 100 units. Okay, something like that. Okay, so and one more important point here is so we need to inform to Spring Boot, hey Spring Boot, my ehcache.xml is at so and so location. So we need to add with this particular property. Okay, something jcache.config is equal to class path colon ehcache.xml. So this is important. Spring Boot will not detect this ehcache.xml automatically. We need to add this particular line in the application.properties. Okay. So now go to workbench. So just I'm deleting the older one. Okay, just for to be on. So this is out and out new project, right? I mean EH cache 3. So anyhow, it will try to create a new employee table during the server startup, right? So here, yeah, we are good. We have added all the required stuff. Now I'm starting the server. So during the server startup, it will create a new employee table. Okay, so again we will create 5 employee records. Okay, and I will show you the same operations which I have done in the case of EH cache 2 also. Okay, so yeah, see, just now it has created employee table in the database. Yeah, it has created. So yeah, started also. Let me create 5 records. Okay, so go to post call. Okay, so let me create 5 records. First one, yeah, second one, third one, fourth one, and fifth one. Yeah, I have created 5 records. Let me refresh. Yeah, 5 records are there. Yeah, we are good. So here the city is Chennai. Okay, now let me fetch a record whose ID is 1. Okay, so first time, second time, third time, fourth time. Okay, so here you can see first time it fetched the data from the database. Here you can see it has printed the log statement properly. See, custom cache event created properly, something like that, right? Now quickly update data. See, within 100 seconds I need to do it quickly. Otherwise my cache will be expired. Okay, now I will change the city to something Delhi. Okay, so let me update. Yeah, it has got updated. Okay, let me fetch the data. It will return the data with Delhi. Yeah, so let me remove this particular record. Okay, then even it will remove from the cache also. Okay, it will throw resource ID not found. Hopefully, yeah, see, resource ID not found. Why? Because even it has deleted the data from the cache also. Obviously it will try to pull the data from the database. Since the record is not available, I have thrown the error message. So right, so that's what I want to show the demo even in the case of EH cache 3 also. So now if you come back to PPT. Okay, so here if you see as I mentioned. Okay, so let me update the PPT now itself. Okay, so just give me 1 second. Okay, yeah, so here if you see in the pom.xml. Okay, so yeah, this is the right dependency. Yeah, so yeah, so this is the right dependency. Okay, something. Okay. Oh, um, okay, okay, 1 second. So let me copy from here. Okay, 1 second. Just go here. Okay, just copy from here. Yeah, so this time it got updated properly. Yeah, so these are the two dependencies, and after that, in the last slide, okay, we need to add this particular line, right? So which is this particular one? Okay, let me copy from here. Okay, and I need to add here. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, so that's it. I mean, I hope you guys understand how to cache the data in the case of Spring Boot with EH cache. Okay, yeah, if you really like the video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.